Yeah, YouTubers, Tazman here, bringing you another episode of Foundry Virtual Tabletop version 12 from the ground up. And like I said in our last episode, I think I'm happy with everything that we've done with the world building system. And as I've said many times, the reason I want to do the simple world building is it shows you at the core level, or at least as close to the core level, what Foundry has. And a big part of that I wanted to do that is so you could really gain a great appreciation for the hard work that these system developers have done. Having said that, our first system, I decided, I haven't heard from anyone. Let me just double check real quick. I don't think I had any comments specifically. But the first system I think we're going to do is the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It is actually created by Atropos, who is the same person who actually made Foundry for us. So it seems like a pretty decent thing. All right, let's see. It's pulling up. Yeah, I think I've read all the comments that we had up to this point. So we already have the system installed. We also have a bunch of modules installed, but I think I'm still trying to decide exactly how I'm going to go about that. I might do a system and then modules that are either system agnostic and for that system, and then do the next system and then cover the ones there. So we would go over Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and then Foundry modules / Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition modules. Then we do Pathfinder 2nd edition and then the modules for that one. I don't necessarily have any real plans right now for any other systems, but I'm always open to what you guys want to see. However, I'd have to learn a bit of those systems before I can make the videos. There are two other systems that are in the making that I'm interested in. There's the DC-20 by the Dungeon Coach, which looks like it's going to be a really good system, and I backed it on Kickstarter. And then there's also Cosmere by Brandon well, it's not by Brandon Sanderson, but based off the novels of Brandon Sanderson, such as Mistborn and the like. So definitely some things I'm interested in. I actually backed both those on Kickstarter. And do have access to those systems, but they're early in their development still. All right. Also, big shout out once again to Molten Hosting. It's what I'm using for this. No sponsorship there. They're just awesome. So there you go. So let's go ahead and begin. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new world, and I'm thinking let's just call this D&D and then 5e maybe. Sure, that's pretty straightforward. And then our game system, of course, we have to select is Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we'll go ahead and create the world. Takes half a second to do. We're going to go ahead and hit run. And we're going to have to delete the password, which is saved in there because the default password is blank for Game Master. And we're going to go ahead and say join game. So this is another thing that I was trying to think of. What is the best way to address this? I mean, obviously, we've kind of gone over all these, and they haven't really changed much. There won't be much there. Where we're going to see the big changes between our simple world building and Dungeons & Dragons 5e will be mostly in our actors, our items, our journals. Actually, with the raw system, it's not really those, but kind of still is. But the biggest thing is with the compendiums, which actually have things for our actors' items. Tables. I don't think there's any cards. Don't think there's any journals or anything. But we're going to go over those changes and then jump into, showing you stuff. I don't remember if I mentioned it, but the only things that are actually pay that I'm going to be doing other than Foundry Virtual Tabletop itself will be for Pathfinder. I have the beginner box which I think is like 34, at least it was when I bought it. And then the Dungeons and Dragons, Phandelver, and Below. So we'll actually have those two modules, which are adventures, just to really get a feel for what they actually do for us. And that'll probably be before we talk about the actual other modules that are third party and free. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clear this. This is, you can feel free to read this. It's just talking about, you know, setting up the game and stuff. As always, the very first thing we want to do is actually go set up our players. So we're going to come into our configurations or settings, game settings, the cogs, and we're going to go under user management. We are going to change game master to be T4ZZM4NN, and we're going to set a password. Because we're setting a password on this, this will require us to log out and log back in using that password. If you just come in here and you're only adding players and you don't care about the default settings for Game Master, you'll actually just go right back to your table when you're done here. So I'm going to do that, and then of course we're going to create, I'm thinking we only need the one player, which we've done as Tazzy, T4ZZIE. And I'm going to set that password the same because we're doing this in a web interface. It's easier since it has it'll auto-fill my thing. And we're just going to have Tazzy be a player. I don't care about being trusted player or anything. I want to show you what your players will actually see in some of these cases. So that will do. We're going to save. It's going to actually force us back out to where we need to log in. And now all I have to do, because it's auto-filling in my password, is just choose Tasman. The next thing I like to do is I like to set my die color, or my player color. I don't know what you'd call it, because I like the magenta color. It's nice and bright. So I go and set that next. And I don't think I care about anything else there. I mean, I could do a player avatar, but I'm not worried about that. All right, so, and now basically this is how I like to at least start my system. I get my players all set up, I get me set up, and then when they log in, they can set themselves up, or they can ask me and I can help them with that. So let's go look at the compendiums, because this is the biggest thing where we're going to see a change. Now, when we're in the simple world building system, we have the list of types of compendiums. There's still actor, items, journals, macros, and all that fun stuff. We're going to have these, but because D&D has an SRD, you actually get the SRD stuff when you install. So as you can see here, we actually have a new button here down here called Open Compendium Browser, and we'll click on that in a little while, which is just kind of a way of interfacing with all these different things that we're going to go through. We have the SRD content. So once again, SRD content is their reference documentation, and this is going to be a subset of what is actually available. So for example, we can, now that we're inside that folder, we can click on character features and we can see these. Your characters all have backgrounds, classes, subclasses, class and subclass features, and of course your race, which has been renamed to species. If we click on one of these, what we can do is see that, for example, with the background, there is just the background itself called Acolyte, and then they have here, the default starting equipment for an Acolyte, and the features that you get with the Acolyte. If we click on one of these, you'll actually see you get this nice little pop-up. Now, I will warn you that some of these pop-ups, because I'm shrinking down my screen, we don't actually get to see, there's a lot of scrolling involved, but you might be able to make it where you can see everything because you have a nice big screen. Normally I can, because I have a nice big screen, but because I'm shrinking this down so that you can get the best view that I think I can give you, we don't get to see everything. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our Acolyte here. So as you can see, it's the only background that comes in it, but it gives you the description of what you do with it, you know, how you apply those things to your character. And if we go under details, you can see this is actually where it's all set up, and advancement is kind of at level 1, you're this. I don't think this has any of the level 2 stuff or anything. It's just basically it's default. We also have in here Acolyte equipment. This is the equipment as an Acolyte that you'll get. So you get a coin pouch, and if we click on that coin pouch, you'll see that it has 15 gold in it, right? You also have a feature, which we saw in our thing, which is Shelter of the Faithful. You want to know what that is, you click it. And here you can read what Shelter of the Faithful is. Basically, it means you can usually stay for free at a temple overnight. It's usually more of your role-playing portion of a role-playing game. So there's our backgrounds. We also have classes. All the classes are here. I mean, Artificer's not here, but all the main classes from the 2014? I think it's 20. Actually, this is the 2014 stuff. This isn't the new stuff yet. But as you can see, we have Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. So if we went to the Fighter, which is known as one of the easier classes to play because there's no spells and stuff, you can see here that this also will give you an idea of, you know, this is what your hit dice is. This is your hit points at level 1. And then it has the same stuff talking about how to get all the way to level 20 with your fighter, which is kind of good. It tells you at first level you have proficiency bonus 2, and you get to choose a fighting style and second wind. Let's go to the next one. We have subclasses for different things. So like I believe it's only one of each they have. Like champion is from the paladin. This is a bard. I believe that's druid. This one I think is sorcerer. This is ranger. This is cleric. This one's paladin. So what's this one? Maybe that's fighter, actually. Then we have barbarian. We have that one, school of, that's wizard. This would be your warlock, your rogue, and your monk. So you have all your different subclasses. Once again, click on these. They'll give you more information on the individual components of that. Usually you don't get to choose a subclass till like level 3, I believe. Depends on the class. And then we have races, which has been renamed to species in the in the 2024. But you know, you can choose, okay, I want to be an elf. You can see what the elf features are. So you know, there's our character features. We have items and spells. This is all items in the SRD. Once again, it's not everything in the whole game, but it's our items. We have trade goods. These are more your just specialty things, nothing more cosmetic or, you know, just to help play. And then we have our spells, of course, from 1st level to 9th level, including cantrips for your spellcasters. Then we have our monsters, because, you know, it's not fun to play if you're not fighting something. So you have monsters in here. We have the monsters themselves. They're all sorted by the type. Let's say you wanted to fight undead monsters. You come down here to undead, click on that, and now you can click on all these. This is where you will actually be able to see some of those changes that I was talking about. Let's say, let's do a mummy, for example. Just pull it up. So as you can see, the character sheet is completely different from what we saw in the simple world building system. It is much more advanced and does a lot cooler stuff. It looks really nice. Our tabs are here on the side, and this one's just an NPC, so it's a little different than what you get with your PCs. So anyway, there's all your monsters. We have monsters features, which are the special abilities of different monsters. They'll have them on them already. And then we have some starter heroes. An example of, I don't know if it's one of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is one of each. But this is what a character sheet looks like. So for your full character, you have your portrait. If it's dragged out onto the sheet, you actually have the token automatically usually in there. You can see all your decks, you can see all your skills, your saving throws, you can see your quick, what would these be, features about your character and stuff. You know, here we can see that they're a priest or a cleric, they're humanoid, so on and so forth. And then if we go down the list of different things, here's our inventory. You can see they have a backpack, a pouch, and a quiver. You can see what's in the different things. We have a little further down, we have our features. So some of these were on that front page. Other ones are just special features of this character, such as the breath weapon, because they are dragonborn. We have spells, because this is a cleric. There's a lot of spells in here. And you can keep track of whether spells is prepared or not, which is, I believe, this icon right here. And we'll be going over all that. Then we also have effects that can be on the character, and finally we have the information for their background. So how are they aligned, what do they look like, their ideals, bonds, flaws, biography. You know, you can put whatever you want in there. And clicking on this little feather here will actually, well, actually it's not going to do it because this is a template, so to speak. So if I saw one of these characters, like, yeah, I want to play one of those, what you do is you right click on it and you'll get import entry. So here we can import our EOF, whatever. If we hit import, now we actually have a character that we can edit. So now if I click on the, oh, actually I have to go into edit mode, but then if I click on here, you can see that we have our stuff. Actually, that feather is just an icon. So now we actually have the ability to edit it, and you'll see that he is in our actors. Once again, here we can create folders to sort things, saying, these are the mobs they're going to fight, these are the players, these are, familiars, all that fun stuff. Let's go back here now, and then we have the SRD rules, the actual rules of the game. Once again, kind of trimmed down to give you just how to get started, give you a taste so that you can, want to learn more and play more. So with our cleric here, or no, we did druid is the one we imported. We go look at the druid spells, for example. So here are all the level 1 spells that they get, level 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We click on any of these, we can actually see the information. We can also drag any of these onto our character. This is going to be a little bit difficult because of how much space we have. But let's say if we go to the spell tab here, let's give a new cantrip. Now, I'm not sure if we have to unlock it first. Let's try. So let's just do a cantrip of, I don't want to do one we already have. So Druidcraft and Shillelagh. Let's go ahead and do Produce Flame. We can just drag that over there, drop it there, and there you go. Now we have Produce Flame. We want to get rid of it. We just click on that. We say delete. And the final thing in our compendiums is tables. Tables for rolling things. Mostly this is usually related to your background and with the ideals. Is it ideals? Yeah, I think it's the ideals, flaws, and bonds, and personalities. But there are some other things, like if there's a table here, it looks like armor of resistance. If we click on that, we can see that you can roll just to see what the resistance of that armor is, and know that. I believe, oh, here's our flaws and bonds. So here's our acolyte ones. Not as organized as well. I mean, there's only one background, so all we have is acolyte. But it's kind of nice to have these pre-built tables and stuff. So in a nutshell, that is basically what you get when you actually have a system. We're going to go more into the actor and the types of actors, because there's no longer just a single actor. Remember when we did it and we created a new one, we had the option of just our template. Now we actually have, we can create a new group, we can create an NPC, we can create a player, and we can create a vehicle. If we go under items, we had very limited. Now we can actually do backgrounds, class, consumables. We can basically do all these different things now. And journal page is kind of the same. Roll tables, pretty much the same. But those are the big ones where you actually get more options of what type of item slash actor you want to build. All right, so I think that is going to end it for this episode. I know it was kind of well, it wasn't really quicker than normal, I guess. But it was very informational. We didn't do a ton of extra stuff other than just going over the compendiums we get. When we get to Pathfinder, we're probably going to really simplify that, because basically you get everything the system has to offer, not just SRD stuff. We're talking everything, and there's a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Click that little notification bell. Join my Discord channel, and don't forget to tell other people about my channel. Come check it out. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.